Hey guys. Okay, so I finally figured out the reason why reparations has been so hard for us to get. And the reason why reparations has been difficult for us African Americans to receive is a number of reasons. But the main reason is because of a church. There's a Episcopal church, if I'm even pronouncing that correctly, Episcopal or something, Episcopal, something like that. I know it. I just at the top of my head. I just haven't, pronounced that word in so long. But there is a church that was founded many years ago that formed and managed the duty of slaveholding. So they were the founders of slaveholding, and that church specifically is still here today. There's a church similar for slaveholding that was previously dealing with slaveholders in Baltimore. There's one in New York City, and there's many others. So I was thinking that there was just like a government thing, but really it is our specific church. Now you can go with the both of them. You can say yes, it's the church, and it's the government. Pretty much the same thing, because you know if there are people bringing drugs into the country that aren't here, you know, then unfortunately, if you go to a church in the same country that they're bringing the drugs in, and you're going to church and praying for the drugs to stop being entering in the country so that their loved ones and family members can be off of the drugs, well then for the government to have so much of a high security alert, that type of substances should not be entering. So this is why some people have a problem with going to church and praying under the same nation that is allowing these things to happen, but then would take certain people to jail in the country and take them to prison for years, for having possession of certain type of drugs, but they're bringing it into the country. So why not just arrest the main people who are bringing it in? So I really would not. I would just seize the drug and not arrest them. That's one of the things. Because it's not their fault they didn't bring it in the country. It's come from someone else. If you want to show people that you care about them, then you get rid of the drug and not take that person in jail for the rest of their life, because it's just not fair. So that's another reason why Michael Jackson, did not go to church, because he believed in fixing the problem instead of praying for it, when you can literally see how to fix it. So praying for it would just be like, okay, I'm going to pray for it, but I'm going to get the job done anyways. Unfortunately, some people are just praying and then waiting for someone else, to do it, or for God to do it, but God is them. So that is another reason why I wanted to make this video, because it needs to be heard that the reason why we do not have reparations yet is because of the, excuse me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, the Episcopal Church. I may be pronouncing that totally wrong. And of course the government. So here's the deal, okay? In order for us to get reparations, if we really want to see this happen, we have to get rid of the entire staff, the entire community involved in the Episcopal Church. Like everything. Like everybody has to go. It's the only way out. Now, it's not they have to go like, oh, we're going to do them like, like kill them or anything like that. No, they have to be stripped from their positions. They have to be stripped from their positions. Okay, then you can allow another group to come in and take over, or dismantle the entire system and it no longer exists. because it's just the only way for us to receive our reparations. Okay, so whoever is involved in the Episcopal Church, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, forgive me if I'm not, it has to leave. It's just like how the Caucasians came into America or other parts of the world and killed off. And I'm not saying that's what we're going to do, because now, because the planets are lining up, blah, 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 you know, people are starting to wake up and realize, oh, that was wrong. We're following the wrong, you know, we don't have to keep on, you know, following the wrong or following the same rules as people that has made that were unfair before us, and they're not even here. It would be ridiculous, you know. We're enslaving ourselves. Yes. So, but the Caucasians, you know, they wanted to take over, and they wanted a job done, and they wanted, you know, and now they did theirs in an unfair way. We're doing ours in a godly way. Like, this is something that's going to aid African Americans who's been struggling for years, who just need that foundation to give them a head start, and then they won't need a handout anymore. Because once the reparations are released, people won't need handouts anymore. Okay, the major handouts will be gone. If they need anything else, it'll be tiny and minor, very minor, because they have enough money to stabilize themselves. Boom. Okay, people can do so much with reparations, and they will. So my reason for making this video is because, you know, the Caucasians did something unfair, and they wanted to take over, and they killed off certain ethnicities, and they're no longer here, you know, just for them to establish a slave-holding system. And it wasn't just for the slaves then, it was for a system that continued to enslave other people, to repeat a cycle system over and over, which is going to school, spending many, many years for something that, you know, you only learned half of and you got a degree in, and then, you know, you don't have a job and things like that. You know, people are burnt out, you know, so my thing is, you know, in order for us to get our reparations, everyone in the Episcopal Church needs to leave. So someone has to be brave enough to wipe every single last one of them out. So whenever we come up with a solution to vote or to get our reparations, who's going to say no? No, who's going to say no? No one, because no one's in charge. And even if someone does say no, they're not in a position or the power to control anything. So right now, it's almost like, who is, you know, orchestrating this and saying no? You know, because really, one person is saying no, two people are saying no, and then the rest of them are following. So we need to get someone to stop playing follow the leader and get rid of that person. We don't have to, this is a new age. We don't have to kill them. We just need to strip them from a position, okay? And that's it. You know, the old way, it was savage for the way that Caucasians did people. This is a new age. We don't have to, you know, do anything anymore. You know, the planets are lining up, yes, and people are starting to wake up and realize, you know, who the gods are. Please do right by the gods, and please do right by people, period, you know. So yeah, that's the reason. So it is a government, but actually it's a church that people are scared of. So it's almost like some people who are following the leader, they want to say yes, they need reparations, but they're fearful of agreeing because someone above them is saying no, so they're scared to speak up, you know. So whoever is ruling this, that's telling us to not get reparations, they have to leave. That is the key to changing things, you know. And I'm not saying, you know, you have to kill them, but I am saying that they need to leave that whole position. Anyone that's in charge, anyone that's saying no, the head people who are saying no for reparations, they have to leave. Because it only takes one person and one group of people to come together and say, yes, reparations are needed. Send those out to people who have bank accounts. If people who have gotten their stimulus checks and they're African American, give them their reparations, and that's how you solve the problem. See you guys.